The water glass trembled in Marcus Bennett's oil-stained hands as he sat in the restaurant he couldn't afford, wearing the only suit he owned, the one he'd bought secondhand for his mother's funeral 3 years ago. He checked his phone again. Still nothing. The blind date his sister had arranged was now 45 minutes late, and the waiter's increasingly judgmental glances made Marcus want to disappear into the leather booth. He'd already spent $27 on an appetizer he hadn't wanted, just to justify occupying the table. This was a mistake, he muttered, reaching for his wallet. That's when he heard it, a soft, desperate sound that made him freeze. Please, please, someone. Marcus turned toward the voice. Across the dimly lit restaurant, near the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, a young woman sat alone in a wheelchair. Her head was tilted at an awkward angle, and her hand trembled as she tried to reach for something on the floor, a phone that had slipped from her grasp. The restaurant bustled around her, waiters gliding past, couples laughing at nearby tables, but no one seemed to notice her distress. Without thinking, Marcus stood. His chair scraped loudly against the marble floor as he crossed the restaurant, his worn sneakers silent against the expensive carpeting. "Hey," he said softly, kneeling beside her wheelchair. "I've got it." He retrieved her phone and placed it carefully in her lap. That's when he noticed her eyes, striking green, intelligent, and swimming with unshed tears of frustration. "Thank you," she whispered. Her voice was refined, educated, but edged with exhaustion. "I've been trying to get someone's attention for 10 minutes. Marcus felt anger flare in his chest, not at her, but at every person who'd walked past. "That's unacceptable," he said. "Are you waiting for someone?" She nodded, then hesitated. "My father. But he's late. He's always late." A bitter smile crossed her face. "CEO problems, you know. The company is always more important." Marcus didn't know anything about CEOs or companies. He knew about transmission fluid and brake pads, about working 60-hour weeks at Rodriguez Auto Repair just to keep his tiny apartment and send money to his sister for his nephew's medical bills. But he recognized loneliness when he saw it. He'd been drowning in it since his mother passed. "Well," he said, surprising himself, "until he gets here, would you mind if I kept you company? My date stood me up anyway." Her eyes widened. "Really? You'd do that?" "Already did," Marcus smiled, pulling up a chair. "I'm Marcus, by the way. Marcus Bennett." "Olivia," she said softly. Olivia Castellano. The name meant nothing to him. He didn't read business sections or follow social media. If he had, he might have recognized the name Castellano, as in Castellano Industries, the tech giant that employed half the city. He might have known that Olivia's face had been splashed across local news 2 years ago when a drunk driver had changed her life forever. But Marcus didn't know any of that. He just saw a person who needed someone to see her. They talked. Really talked. Olivia told him about her physical therapy sessions, about the novel she was writing on her tablet, about her love for classic movies and her frustration with people who treated her like she was invisible, or worse, like she was made of glass. Marcus told her about his mother's lemon cake recipe that he could never quite replicate, about the 1967 Mustang he was restoring in his building's parking garage, about his dream of someday opening his own shop where he'd treat his employees like family. "You know what's funny?" Olivia said, her eyes bright with something Marcus couldn't quite name. "I've been on 17 blind dates in the past year. My father arranges them with suitable young men from good families." She made air quotes, her voice dripping with sarcasm. "Every single one of them looked at me like I was a charity case. Like dating me would be some noble sacrifice." Marcus felt his jaw tighten. "Then every single one of them was an idiot." Olivia laughed, really laughed, for the first time in months. The sound drew stares from nearby tables. They ordered dinner. Marcus tried not to panic at the prices, mentally calculating how many extra shifts he'd need to pick up. When Olivia noticed him hesitating, she insisted on covering it. "Absolutely not," Marcus said firmly. "I invited myself to your table. I'm paying." "Marcus." No argument. Something shifted in Olivia's expression then, something profound. She was used to people either pitying her or wanting something from her. Marcus wanted neither. He was just present. Genuinely present. 2 hours passed like minutes. They were debating whether Die Hard was a Christmas movie when a commotion erupted at the restaurant's entrance. A tall man in an immaculate suit swept in, flanked by 2 assistants. His silver hair was perfectly styled, his presence commanding. Every head turned. "There he is," Olivia whispered, her earlier warmth evaporating. "My father." Richard Castellano spotted his daughter and strode over, his expression shifting from business mode to concern when he saw Marcus sitting with her. "Olivia, I'm so sorry I'm late. There was a situation at the—" He stopped, his eyes narrowing at Marcus. "Who is this?" Marcus stood, extending his hand. "Marcus Bennett, sir. Your daughter's phone fell, and I was just keeping her company while she waited for you." Richard didn't shake his hand. His eyes swept over Marcus's cheap suit, his calloused palms, the grease still faintly visible under his fingernails despite his vigorous scrubbing. "I see," Richard said coldly. "Well, thank you for your assistance. Olivia, your car is waiting." "Dad," Olivia said, her voice suddenly strong. "Marcus was more present in 2 hours than you've been in 2 years." The restaurant went quiet. Richard's face flushed. "Olivia, we'll discuss this at home." "No." She wheeled herself slightly away from him, closer to Marcus. "For once in my life, someone looked at me and saw me. Not the wheelchair. Not the Castellano name. Not the accident. Just me." Tears streamed down her face now. "Do you know how rare that is? Do you care?" Marcus felt like he was intruding on something private, but Olivia's hand found his, squeezing tightly. Richard stared at his daughter, and something in his corporate armor cracked. He looked at Marcus again, really looked at him this time, and saw something he'd forgotten existed, genuine human decency without agenda. "Mr. Bennett," Richard said quietly, his voice stripped of its earlier frost. "Please, sit back down. Both of you." He pulled up a chair, dismissing his assistants with a wave. "Olivia, I think I need to learn how to see you the way this young man does." What happened next wasn't a fairy tale transformation. Richard Castellano didn't suddenly become Father of the Year. But he stayed. For the first time in 18 months, he stayed at dinner with his daughter, asking questions, really listening to her answers. And Marcus. He learned that sometimes the wrong table is exactly where you're meant to be. 3 months later, Marcus opened his own auto repair shop, Bennett and Daughter Automotive, funded by an anonymous investor who believed in second chances. The name honored his mother's memory, and the business card in his wallet bore Olivia's personal number, where they texted daily about everything and nothing. Love didn't bloom immediately. But friendship did, and respect, and the revolutionary understanding that the most valuable currency in this world isn't money or status, it's the simple act of seeing another human being and choosing to care. Marcus Bennett had walked into that restaurant expecting nothing. He left with everything that mattered.